All right, people, so welcome back to Breaking Dawn this morning, and we are just about 13 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. We're in the second hour, and for the next 15 minutes, we will be talking to our good friend here, a clinical psychologist from Elders Associates Limited, and his name is Mr. Brian Subero. We're going to talk about family matters during the holiday season. We know that the Christmas season is here, and a lot of families are together and some are not. You have a lot of children that might be living in homes where the parents are divorced, and there's the bouncing back and forth and who they want to be by for Christmas and all these little things.
Correct.
We have, little family disputes like we just saw before the break, amongst other things that occur during the holiday season and throughout the course of the year. So we want to say good morning to Mr. Subero. Morning to you, man. Welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot.
And all right, so when we say family matters during the holidays, all right, so where do we start?
Man, I think first thing we need to start in terms of what families mean. In terms of that in general.
Yeah, what family mean?
I can hear you asking that question.
Because just so I was wondering, you know what I mean? What is family, you know what I mean?
So first of all, family doesn't necessarily have to be biological family. It could be friends, connections, and stuff like that that you create as your family, right?
Right.
What a family really is and it provides, it's actually the first fundamental aspect of socialization within society. So think of when it is we were younger, at 6 years old.
Yeah.
Your first idea of what society is your family system. Rules, norms, culture, those things. That's where you navigate those things within our family.
Right.
Within your family system and society is translated into society within the family. I think family is really supposed to be your foundation of support. Connection, love, interactions with people where you develop a sense of self and connection with other people gradually, right? So that's the first thing in terms of what family is. In terms of family season and the Christmas season that is approaching, I think we need to understand that we have to connect more with our loved ones. That's what the family season really is supposed to bring. Connection and stuff with loved ones and friends, family. And it brings a greater sense of identity for individuals. But yeah, those are little things that I think we have to discuss and navigate through, I guess, even the 15 minutes that we do have.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so when we talk, what we want to talk about here, the negative parts of the negative issues first, and then we could shift and focus and end with the positive.
Sure.
So
when we first came up with the idea in terms of discussing family matters, the one show that came to mind, I don't know if you're familiar with it, Stefan, Family Matters. I if you're back in the day with Urkel.
Correct. Yeah, Urkel and Carl and the whole crew.
Correct,
yeah.
Carl and the crew. So there in itself, I think, Stefan, epitomizes what family matters mean and what it is that we have to discuss.
Yeah.
And you have conflict, but within your family system, you can resolve a lot of the conflicts. Peacefully. Well, sometimes. But because we saw what happened earlier on.
Yeah.
Correct. But yes, peacefully. And that's the aim of what it is that we want. As a counseling psychologist, I try to focus more on how we could navigate and deal with situations among each other. So I'm the person that will sit in the room with 8 to 10 people sometimes in our family system. To try to resolve these little conflicts. So some conflicts that appear during the family season, during the Christmas season, as you said, separation within households.
Yeah.
How do I gradually and say, okay, who do I want to live by? Who do I want to connect with? That in terms of children. There's also another stickler, I think, within the matters that occur within our family. Drug and alcohol use.
Right.
When it is that you're in a family system, people and then conflicts arise. People tend to drink a lot more.
Yeah.
They tend to, especially in the Caribbean society, we tend to drink and get a good time.
Yeah.
But those things evoke a negative impact within our family system. Fights, conflict, etc. So as a family system, I love to work with people and try to mitigate those little factors, Stefan.
Okay.
And navigating and say, okay, what could we come up with solutions? What are some solutions that we could come up with for those drug and alcohol usage and substance abuse? And some of the solutions, I think, how could I understand what it is somebody might be going through? So we see somebody drinking, we see somebody abusing substance. What's going on for them? So as a counseling psychologist, I advise family members, talk to them, figure out what it is that's going on, what it is going on in their life, what are certain types of conflict that might be happening, how they're managing their work, what's going on with their kids, their family, etc. See if that is causing that conflict for them to go towards drug and alcohol usage and stuff like that.
But a big part of that solution had to do with communication. But you have a lot of times when this one and talking to that one and the other one and talking to the next one and everybody's enemy and this, that, and the other. So how do you break down that wall and get that line of communication going again? Because without communication, without you talking to me and you coming to me and say, listen, this is a problem I have with you or whatever the case might be, you know, without that happening, you can't really move towards a solution because nobody ain't talking.
Yeah, and you're right there, Stefan. But we have to want that change though, Stefan, I believe. As an individual, we have to want that change. Yes, I hear what you're saying and that somebody might not be willing to want to make that change, but for us to, as a society, to do better, we have to want that change for ourselves.
Right.
So we have to connect greater. We have to say, you know what? I have to put this aside in order for me to move forward with my family and connect. So I get it. It's a difficult thing that we need to do at times, but it's something that has to be done, Stefan.
All right, but is it just, I mean, look, as we're talking about during holidays here, this is also a time where financial and economic situations come up, right? And you may have people going through this phase where they don't have enough money, or they feel like they can't buy something for the children, and they can't provide, and now you have to look at an increased grocery bill, and affording a ham, and a this, and a that, and all the little things that come with it. Even in terms of stocking your house for invited guests and all these things. So all these things put strain on either one or two individuals within the family, whether it's the husband and wife.
Correct.
And depending on who not pulling the weight, sometimes that could cause a little riffle too.
Absolutely, and conflict within the family system. Absolutely, and that's one of the major ones during the Christmas season. Money, yeah, financial strain, and bringing in people. If it's, again, let's say you have siblings or your son or somebody lives abroad, and you want them to come home for the season. That's a financial strain you're putting yourself under.
That's the next thing too. Family who coming in and visiting.
Absolutely, that's a massive financial strain. So these are little conflicts that arise during the season that sometimes people don't notice. They don't see it. We're not realizing the impact it might have, because it mightn't feel it now. We might be enjoying the time now, Stefan, but come next month in January when we're struggling and fighting for So that's where the struggle really is as well. So within that, Stefan, I think as a people, we have to understand that people might be struggling during this time. So we have to lean on our family system. So yes, your external family, let's say you have sisters or whoever it is, they might be going through something. How could I support them? How could I maybe know that, hey, they're bringing in a nephew from abroad? How could I, hey, come over by me, spend a little time here so that they could eat out my food, basically, because I could be able to take on that. I could take that lick.
I have, and I could absorb it.
Correct. How could I help? And that's where I think as a family we come in and we support each other, because that is the bedrock of what family really is. How we support and create this psychological need for one another. That's the bedrock of what society, of what our family system is.
Yeah, because family, when we talk in family in terms of the support structure, right? You talk about a husband supporting a wife supporting a husband, a brother supporting a sister supporting a brother, right? So you have all these little layers.
Yeah.
Where you even have, your child might feel more comfortable going to auntie or uncle to talk about something rather than coming to you.
Absolutely.
Right? So I mean, all of these are things.
Absolutely. And these things I think should be made normal. Because we have to put ego aside sometimes, Stefan, as a family. We have to put that ego aside and say, I prefer that they're going to somebody and chat with, even though it's not me.
It's not me, yeah.
But I know that's a hard thing for us to accept sometimes, especially as parents, because we want to be the one that they go to. We want to be the one, but that's what we have a system for. That's how it functions, that I can't go to you, I don't feel that confidence in going to you, I can go to somebody else. And this is the season where everybody comes together. So this is the season where we could develop even further traditions, connection, those aspects of things. I also believe that this is a season where, especially in 2024, we could now absorb newer traditions. Because we have a tendency where conflict arises, where people want to stick to their particular tradition. So the older generation, you had to hang up curtains, you had to do this at this particular time. Exactly. How could we now allow the younger generation to say, you know what, Johnny,
the next thing too is the generational gap, right? The generational gap. And the changes too, because now we live in at a different time. Long time you get a little electric under the tree, like cool scene for you. Now everybody wants some high tech, you know what I mean? But outside of the gift buying, this is not just about gift buying and problems coming with buying. Mix this up, eh? To what you were saying there, the age gap, that generational difference, and you know, the understanding between those two different, it also causes conflict. Eh?
Absolutely, and that's why it is, I think, we need to have this kind of open mind when it is we're approaching the holiday season.
Right.
And I'm geared towards more integration and separation. So am I going to, am I trying to connect with the younger generation, or am I trying to keep this disruption?
Right, yeah.
Connection.
And do it my way.
Correct.
Yeah.
But the whole point of why it is inviting everybody is to connect.
Right.
So we have to be geared towards that level of connection. The only way we can connect is by embracing the new.
Right.
The challenge that we have though is, based on the older heads, we stick to our culture and tradition. We don't want to bring in the new. We don't want to see how the young people do things. You do it my way or there's no way, that aspect, that creates conflict.
Yeah.
So if it is because during the year, that's what we say that to the younger generation. They don't do enough, they're not connected, they're not doing this. Here's the perfect time that we can give them their play to do it their way as well. Correct. So feel inclusive.
So what about the psychological effect that conflict has on the child?
Oh, well, that's what I see almost every single day. If there's conflict within a child, there's effect in terms of their relationships building in the long run, in terms of intimate relationships with partners, loved ones. They sometimes have difficulties in school. You'll see it within the school environment. You'll see it in their schoolwork. You'll see it in the interactions and they play with other people. So once there's that conflict that happens, Stefan, it could mash up an individual's sense of lifestyle in the future.
Right.
That's why it's good for them to come in earlier, so we could harness that and try to heal from that. But we see long-standing effects. If it is, you look at the younger generation now, I'm talking about maybe the 20s, early 30s. If you look at the crime situation that we are dealt with, especially now, it's because of sometimes the failure of the family systems in the past.
Of course. Yeah.
So that's just a true reflection of what exists. So since we've moved from long time, we used to have a greater family system and connection.
Yeah.
Correct.
Way greater.
Way greater. So now since we've moved from that to far more of an individualistic kind of mindset and not systems-based, we are losing the essence of connection and stuff, and people can't speak to their children anymore. The reliance is on the teacher to do the job, or the government to do the job.
Or somebody else, the responsibility falls on somebody else,
Correct. So one thing that we need to do is realize that our impact in terms of these conflicts are great on children, are exponentially great on the child. So even when I saw the situation that happened with eviction, that's having an impact on the children. That's a long-standing traumatic event for them. And they need to, at some point, if it's possible, seek that help.
And you say long-standing effect on them, right? I think people who sit on the outside and they see situations like that, or see disputes going on at home, and they see a child crying and crying, they tell themselves, well, once they see the child happy the next day, it's out of the child's mind, right? And that goes for adults too.
Of course.
You tell yourself, you see somebody, they're down and depressed one day, and then tomorrow you see them and you tell yourself, well, whatever depressed them yesterday, they're over that. Is that necessarily the case?
No. So sometimes it's very misunderstood that children are resilient.
Yes.
Which they are. Let me make sure and say that they are resilient. But it's still harnessed inside. It's still existing inside. So just as you said, even adults.
Yeah.
Somebody might be grieving a child or grieving a loved one during the holiday season. They might be smiling and stuff with you, but inside they're feeling a great sense of pain.
Yeah. But how are you getting that out? How are you pulling that out of them to get them to talk about it?
Who are you asking for? As an individual, as an outside individual, or as a counselor?
As a person within the family that might, and do most persons within a family structure notice that something wrong? Because I get the feeling that in most cases they don't.
So I hear you, but I don't feel like they don't. I feel like they don't want to sometimes. Because it's difficult having to talk to somebody that's going through something that is challenging.
Right.
Think about it. If it is, You know somebody just lost a child or lost a loved one.
Yeah.
And you're in a family event and you're seeing them by themselves or you're seeing them might be drinking this man. You might go over there, you're good? Instead of being inquisitive, you just want to make sure that you do your due diligence and say, hey, I check in on you.
I check in on you, yeah.
And that's the beyond and all. But you don't really want to know how it is that they're doing. Do you really want to know? So if it is you really want to know, pull them aside. Hey, how things have been.
Yeah.
What's the challenges you're faced with? What can I do to help?
Yeah, not you're good. You're
not
good.
You're good.
Yeah. Because no, usually that's the thing,
that's what you get.
Hey, you're good. You know, somebody just died in your family, you know, lost your wife, your child, whatever. You're good? Correct. No, serious, no, that's the automatic greeting. You're good? But I guess you just threw out two things there that might be a better approach. Hey, how you going? Which challenges you're facing?
Yes, what challenges you're facing? What's going on? How can I assist? Or even you be the one to bring it up. Say, hey, you know, if it's Junior, it would be nice to have Junior here because, you know, he used to love these situations. He used to love family. So you be the one to evoke that conversation. So, because people are in pain, people are grieving. So as you said, as a child, might see the child crying one day, but they're joyful the next day. Yes, they're feeling that joy now, but later on, we don't know what it is that might be happening. Just check in on them, check in on your family members. And that's why I think in this situation, families matter. Because our duty and is to do due diligence.
Right.
Check in on your family members, check in on your loved ones, see how things are going. They might be feeling a sense of loneliness during the holiday period because some people are in Trinidad right now working, but their family is abroad.
Yeah.
So they're feeling that sense of loneliness. So how could you, if it's a phone call, we have the laptops now, we have...
WhatsApp, video call, Zoom, all kind of thing you could connect to.
Integrate them. So if it is, hey, we're making panchagram, let's come together and let's make this thing together. We're making sorry. So how could I integrate and keep that family tradition and connection going? That's important, I think, Stefan.
We just got about a minute left or two. So just in the time that we have left, quick question.
Sure.
No, we deal with all of that. But in my experience, Christmas is always also a time that families put aside differences, maybe even just for a temporary moment, in order just for the season. Right. And as always said, that can't be healthy. It can't be healthy that we just put it aside because it's a season.
Sure.
And then when the season done, we back at each other's throat. It don't make no sense.
Yeah, I think it has to be dealt with a lot of times. But again, as I said earlier, people do these things because they don't want to feel that sense of tension and anxiety about it. So it's easier for them at times to fake it till they make it, just see through this day or the season, and then they go back to their risk. But you are right in that, Stefan, in that that can't be the case.
Yeah.
We can't make that the norm, Stefan. We have to deal with these situations. But I don't know, I trust that people can deal with it on their own, but I've seen what happens in the wider world, and it's about anger. People deal with it through anger and resentment and frustration. So sometimes take a step back, reflect. As I said earlier, is this approach going to be geared towards connection or disruption? Am I going to create a connection by trying to resolve this? Or if I bring this up, it's going to create greater disruption. And the manner in which I bring it up, is it going to be in a connecting manner, or is it going to be in a manner that is disruptive?
Yeah. And I guess as we could wrap up here, what's the message to those in the family that want to, you know, play the role of intervention or interventionist?
Sure.
When they see problems occur with two members of the family and they say, you know what, maybe I could step in. There's also the place of, the part of that is that you feel, sometimes some people feel, is I out of place, that is not my business. But once it's family, isn't it everybody's business?
It kind of is, because it has an impact on everybody. I mean, I'm sure in your family systems, you have experienced those things as well. And that it has an impact. To those people, I recommend do what you can do. Do what you feel you can do. So connect with them if possible. But don't go with an expectation that it's going to be resolved.
Right.
Because then you'll be met with disappointment sometimes. Go with the expectation that you're trying your best to see if we can resolve whatever conflict may exist. But don't go with the hope that I am going to fix this, or I am the bedrock in terms of going to create a better family system.
Right, but
try if you want, but yeah.
All right, so what's the advice in closing to those who intervene? It doesn't go the way that they expect. What is the next step?
Let it go for now.
Just let it go?
No, but let it go for now. And then, especially during the season.
Right.
And then find a way how we can restart that again. If it's hey, let's have a conversation on the side. And do it progressively, but don't do it as intrusively as you would do during the season. Don't be too hard on it. Guide them to us, to elders. Guide them to see if they can get help outside of yourself.
Right.
Because it might be something that is beyond your scope of practice. So give it to us, let's see how we could do. Or, if you don't want to send the family that is in conflict themselves, you come. You come, let's talk about it, let's see what it is that you can do, see if it's an issue that you want to take on. Because that's the other thing, you might have other responsibilities. Is this something you want to take on? And then let's figure it out. We figure it out together.
So I'll tell you what, this is Mr. Brian Subero from Elder Associates Limited, and a clinical psychologist. And we were talking about family matters during the holiday seasons. We know a lot of people go through their little pressures quietly. I don't believe in silence when you're going through your little struggles. I believe that you should at least get it off your chest. I think once you hold things on your chest, once you keep things on your chest and you keep things in your mind, and you don't, sometimes you just need to scream and let it out. Let me put it that way. You know, you ever been frustrated and you just scream? You know, you feel better after, right? You do feel better after. So, I mean, just let it out. Find somebody that you're comfortable with, somebody that you trust, and that's the next thing to real quick here.
Trust.
You will go and tell somebody something, you will say, hey, this is between me and you, and then next thing you know, Uncle Harry, Auntie Jane, the neighbor next door, the man living quite down by the corner in the street, he know your business. That's more bacchanal.
More bacchanal. And they're very intrusive with it. Because they'll call it out.
Yeah.
They'll call you on the road. Hey, I hear so-and-so. I hear you break up and so-and-so.
Yeah.
Correct. They're very intrusive. So yes, during the season.
And that will cause more conflict.
More conflict. More
So when you talk to people, and when people trust you enough to talk to you, keep it confidential now. All right? And then try and work your way into smoothing things out and mending the fences and building back the bridges. All right, because family is what it ought to be. The first, how can I put this, boy?
Your first point of contact and reliance on support.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
the first point of support.
Absolutely.
It's supposed to be family. And if you're not doing that, then your children will never trust themselves to come to you. And they'll go and look for it outside. And then when they go look for it outside, the problem is usually when they do that, they get bad advice.
Correct.
Because you always have to remember, and I always say this to every young person, your mother and your father always have your best interest at heart. You know, those in your family that you grew up with, the people that raise you, they always have your best interest at heart. If you are 19 years old, well, not 19, let me say 17, 16 years old, and you go into a 16-year-old partner for advice, you don't start on the bad road already because they don't know more than you. Correct. You understand what I'm saying? You have to go to the people who are experienced and who have your best interests at heart. So stay away from bad advice. Brian, thanks a lot.
Yeah, man,
and Elder Associates Limited, yeah, man, you could always check them out if you have any difficulties that you need to deal with and you need somebody to intervene. You know, these are the people that you could go to, Elder Associates Limited. So keep it right here on Breaking Dawn. When we come back, it will be either Dr. Watson or Amrika. Amrika on her way, I don't know how far she reached yet. But if she isn't here in time, we'll get to Dr. Watson. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up after this.